Outside of wrestling, what kinds of charity groups or organizations have you worked with or have done any kind of philanthropy outside of business that you can talk to me about?
Yeah, there's an organization called the Variety Club. Now it's called the Variety Children's Organization, where it started out where we provided prosthetics, wheelchairs, uh, things like that for kids who couldn't afford them. For kids who needed a wheelchair, they couldn't afford a wheelchair, couldn't afford a prosthetic leg. And actually, when I first started ECW, had I known how big it was going to get, I don't know that I would have done it. At the time, I was the president of the Variety Club here of the Pennsylvania Philadelphia chapter. I mean, it's an international charity. Oh yeah, it was tents and chapters everywhere. Uh, so it was that was like a full time job, and this is my other full time job. So I was doing that, and I was president of the charity. And prior to that, executive board member, and very involved in that. In fact, before I ever met Paul or Eddie or any of these guys, we would go to the developmental center in the camp for the kids, which is this great facility where during the summer, 2 weeks out of the summer, these parents who take care of these kids 24/7, all year, every day of their lives. They get a 2 week respite.
Hmm.
And the camp was for these kids to come for 2 weeks and be campers and especially trained people who took care of them and gave the parents that 2 week break a year. It's an unbelievable organization. It's very, very heartwarming. It's touching. It's phenomenal. And we went out there and we put on free shows for them. I took out Sandman and Tommy Cairo and their early Eastern guys, JT Smith, and they loved it. They loved going out there to that camp with all the kids in their wheelchairs and different disabilities that they had and performing for them. It's a different kind of audience, obviously. So we'll get a hardcore in front of that all, but it meant so much to these kids. And I love the fact these guys wanted to do it with me. So we would go out there, we put on shows. And as I said, it was an integral part of my life, that whole organization. I spent many years there, working my way up the ladder from a board member to treasurer, vice president, eventually became the president and chairman of the board. And then I also moved on. But my life would have been so different without that. I can't imagine not having that to humble me and keep me, real and level headed.
Definitely seems very interesting to create like different kinds of wheelchairs and helping kids that are having these struggles and are going through stuff because you just never know, what they're going through in their lives.
No one could appreciate it. I couldn't appreciate it. I mean, there was one kid, Stevie Cope, I bring up his name. He's in a wheelchair still to this day. It's 30 years ago. And he was like at the time 5'6". He'd had 13 or 14 surgeries already, and he was only 6. I mean, big surgeries. Now he's going to have maybe 20 something. But I did a convention in Hamburg, Pennsylvania 2 years ago. And doesn't he come rolling up? He's like, "Oh my God, Uncle Todd, Uncle Todd." I was like, he goes, "I'll never forget. You let me come to the shows at the arena. You gave me these tickets, put me in a special box. I was scared of all the." And I love you so much. And, oh my God, I got emotional talking about it. So all these years later, that impacted these kids to the point where he wanted to come out to this convention. He lives in Howard's Drive or whatever, just to say hello, meet me, see me again.
That's so heartwarming.
It
You
is.
know, and how long ago in between when he went to the show versus when you saw him again all these years later?
Well, I guess 25 years. Yeah. I mean, occasionally on Facebook, he would reach out and say, "How are you?" and stuff like that. I say, "How are you?" And I had two kids I had two of my kids, well, were his age. And I used to bring them to the, functions, and they used to push him around in the wheelchair. And it was trying to let them know how lucky they were. And I felt lucky to have kids who were healthy. And I want them to know that too. And to this day, he's like, "How's Allie?" He remembered the girls. It was just, like I said, it was one of those things you just never lose, you never forget.
Yeah. Why do you feel passionate about giving back to your community?
Because I was fortunate. I had kids who were all healthy. I saw these other kids who didn't want to be like that, but they had no choice. They're born that way. And, they didn't ask for that. My kids were blessed. I was blessed to have kids that had no health issues like that. and to see the love and affection these people have with their own families, and how much those parents do and put up with and had to go through. I mean, it's a when I say a full time job, they got the full time jobs. They're doing 24 hours a day. You know, they're giving up everything so these kids can afford to have more surgeries and be able to be any kind of active role in society. It's you couldn't help but meet these people and not be like in awe of them. They were all got great attitudes. They were walking around like, "Oh, woe is me! Look at me! Look at me!" But they had every right to. So I admired those kids. I was thrilled to get back to them, have something to do with their success.